Okay, welcome back to the channel. Or maybe I should say welcome to the channel. We have found COVID has struck again, and we're teaching remotely, at least for a couple of days. Maybe we'll be back early next week, I hope. But until then, I wanted to do a video about glycolysis. Um, I'm gonna show like 4 parts. I'm gonna try to make it as simple as possible so that we can all understand it. Okay, so first let's draw our cell. All right, let's draw a few things so that we can recognize it as a cell. Maybe we'll try to draw a nucleus here. All right, and maybe we'll draw some rough endoplasmic reticulum. And it's rough because, that's right, it's got these ribosomes on there. Put a few of those ribosomes out there. And then let's draw some smooth endoplasmic reticulum. All right, these guys are smooth because they don't have ribosome. And that's kind of the best. My pen's not working exactly right. But let's draw the big player. Let's draw the powerhouse of the cell. Let's draw out the mitochondria. Let's make him kind of large. All right. And let's draw out some cytoplasm. All right. So when we talk about glycolysis, one of the big players is glucose. All right, and so we know that glucose enters a cell that a reaction occurs inside that cytoplasm, right? And so we talked about this in EMT school, and we talked about it meeting with oxygen and aerobic and anaerobic metabolism. Let's let's talk about this first step of glycolysis. So the first step of glycolysis is that one, it occurs in the cytosol. It's a series of reactions. Okay, so in which glucose and pyruvic acid are produced. All right, and so this reaction is also going to produce a couple of other things. All right, so we're going to see the reaction also produces some ATP I call it NAD, N-A-D-H. And CO2. All right, so we have a series of reactions which glucose is going to produce pyruvic acid, and it also produces ATP, NAD, and CO2. So let's talk about the second step of this. I like to call this a transition step. So during this transition step, it's going to prepare the pyruvic acid to enter into the Krebs cycle. Okay, and so let me write this right here. So we're going to get ATP, NADH, CO2, and ATP. Now during this, let me draw this out too so that it's really clear. In this section of the mitochondria, we're going to call this where the Krebs cycle exists. And so when we have this, all of these ATP, NAD, CO2, and ATP, when it crosses in to the mitochondria, to the mitochondria, because we're outside the mitochondria at this point. We're just coming in to the mitochondria. Okay, so we're inside the mitochondria, and we're at a transition step. We want to go here to the Krebs cycle, but we're not ready yet. We need to create something, and that something is called acetyl CoA. So acetyl CoA is produced and now we're going to enter the Krebs cycle, which brings us to our third step. Step number 3. So our acetyl CoA is going to produce, so it's going to be actually oxidized. It's going to go through a bunch of chemical steps. We're not going to cover that, but it's going to change through a reaction, and we're going to get carbon dioxide, some more ATP. We got our NAD. And NAD's going to have a brother, FAD. So we've got NAD and FAD. And NAD and FAD, what they are really, is high energy electrons. All right. So remember, the mitochondria is kind of like a warehouse. It's organizing, it's stacking things, it's putting things in different places of the warehouse. But this warehouse also has a production process as well. And its production process is energy. Because that's what keeps the cells alive. And so what this is going to happen over here is, now that we have these high energy electrons, it's going to be sent to a different place for processing. And that place is known as the electron transport chain. I'll draw it out right here. And so NAD and FAD are going to come down here. After they're done being organized, we're going to get CO2, ATP, some water, and some heat. And so to try to clear it up a little bit, when we have our glucose come in, it comes into the cell, it's in the cytosol. That reaction, if oxygen, well, let's not talk about oxygen yet. Glucose comes into the cell, it's inside the cytosol. You're going to get ATP, NADH, CO2. But there's 2 moles of ATP. Remember, a little bit. And all that's designed to do is provide enough energy for this to transfer into the mitochondria. During that transition step, and then we go into the Krebs cycle, we get a little more ATP, right? 2 moles. And it's just enough ATP to send it from the Krebs cycle to the other part of the mitochondria, the electron transport chain. Once it's there, we can get a lot of ATP. I think your book says 32 moles. And that's where the majority of the energy comes. Now, it's important to understand that in step 1, it can occur with or without oxygen, making it happen during aerobic or anaerobic. All right, either one. Number 1's going to happen. All right, but steps 2, step 3, and step 4 can only happen or only occur if O2 is present. That's the way it works. It's a quick video to explain the process of glycolysis, and I hope you get something out of it. That's all I expect you to understand. and it could get very deep. Okay, so if you want to get deep with it, it's ready for you. All right, so I'm going to post this on the channel, and I'll keep posting small videos. If we're still doing remote Monday or Tuesday, and it looks like it's going to be a while, then we're going to organize a class based on a remote. We're going to do Zoom meetings. We're going to do Zoom breakouts. We're gonna have a good time. All right. So I'll keep you updated, and until then, I will talk to you soon.